It's showtime.
Oh, yeah. Karl is fresh off the massive success of Dabblecon 2 in Rochester, which means the next event is at the Magic Bag. And I got the word from Willie, they got less than 50 tickets left.
Whoa.
So,
yeah, those tickets are flying.
Yeah.
So that's going to sell out for sure.
you guys had a great crowd there.
Yeah, Dabblecon was fantastic. You know, something that I appreciate about you, Drew, is I'm the same way. When you went to Dabblecon.live, you bought the streaming package. I appreciate that. You're watching the roast, watching the live podcast, and you got kicked off and you weren't sure why. You didn't know your password. You signed up again. And you came on here and you didn't say Karl's system was all broken and it didn't work. You said, it's probably my fault. I had a recent thing happen to me. I'm using this new system called the Super Tip system, and it wasn't working the other day on Who Are These Socials. And immediately I said, it must be something I'm doing. I guarantee it's not the Super Tip system.
That's what
I'm
I
probably
thought.
fucking up. That's always my first instinct. I'm doing something wrong.
Yep. I think in my case, I'm probably right more often than you are.
Either way, it's a good way to go through life, isn't it?
Yeah, it probably is. Instead of blaming somebody else all the time. No, the roast was so good. Dr. Steve just killed it. I thought Mike Morse did a great job. I was like, Silent Mike? I don't know. What are we going to get out of Silent Mike? I thought he killed it.
He did. He did a weird thing where he started with his worst material and then it got way better. And Anthony Zenhauser was also fantastic.
He was. Cardiff was good. You did a great job. Everyone was so good. It was like, this is weird because there were just a couple comedians, who were good too. Bob Levy, and I got cut off before Shuley, but it was just a really fun event. And it made me, I'm dying to know, is John still off the internet, Stuttering John?
I haven't looked today, but I haven't seen anything. So
I looked today, and there was no new shows in the last 4 months, so he scrubbed a lot of recent stuff as well.
Ooh. And Vince the lawyer, I was asking yesterday, and I noticed a lot of people were answering me in the comments, which people liked very much, the Dabblecon bit we put up with my brief review, that Vince the lawyer was suing John. I was like, why would he sue John for $12.5 million? John went to the board to get his license revoked?
Correct. Yeah. that was a really dumb move on John's part to do that. He put in a formal complaint trying to get Vince fired from his job.
Wow.
Yeah.
On what basis? Do we know?
Yeah. So basically, there's this Twitter account that we believe is tied to Vince, and that Twitter account reached out to John's school that he was substitute teaching at the time and tried to get John fired from his job. And so John filed a complaint.
John was never fired, though. Isn't that true, that he was not indeed fired?
Correct. He later came out and admitted he was never fired.
Ooh. Well,
he would have been. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, he would have been. It's true. But it would have been his own fault.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Not to mention, if they saw half the shit he's doing on his stupid show, they probably wouldn't be crazy about that either. But,
right.
But John, he actually moved his house into his mom's name, sold the house to her for $10. So he's obviously worried about this suit, right?
Yeah, I think that's one of the big reasons why he's off the internet right now. I think he's scrambling, trying to figure this out, because if this lawsuit goes through, and Vince has come out and said he's not just going to let it go. He's not going to drop it. John's going to have to pay some amount of money because Vince had to hire his own attorney. He said, I at least need to cover those fees, which I imagine are tens of thousands of dollars.
So is John, I guess he's stubborn and stupid enough to not be willing to just throw out a couple grand and make it go away. That's not his style, is it?
No, he wants a countersue, of course. Such an idiot.
Wow.
Oh, God.
So, Brandon, do you have any questions about Dabblecon?
I am not afraid to sue.
About Dabblecon.
Yeah, or anything? I just want to make sure we covered it a little bit. We did cover a lot of it yesterday, but or anything, Karl, that you want to let us know about Dabblecon?
Yeah, the Dabby Awards.
Oh, look at that.
That was fantastic. Rocco Burrow became Dabbler of the Year.
Oh, he's great.
Because of that interview he did with John in Atlantic City where he asked if his sons ever queefed in his face.
Oh, yeah. It was a great moment.
So many great creators. We had all these different creators who do all this like CGI stuff and AI face swapping and all this really cool video production. But you can't beat actually asking John that question to his face. So that was the winner.
And also you had the security cameras from Fatty Patty?
Patrick Melton's house. Yes.
Nobody loves onions.
So he flew up from Vegas just to be there. I was asking if he'd come on WTP. He's like, I don't know, man. I'm just hanging out. So then a day or two before the show, I said, look this is the crowd to play these tapes you've been sitting on. This is the crowd you want to play them in front of. And he said, all right, I'll get you the video. And then he came up and showed us the surveillance video. Did a great job editing those too. John looks so foolish.
Yeah, John is yelling at his house, not even yelling and acting like he's chewed chicken shit to come out when he knows, because Patrick made it clear, look, the hours I'm not going to be home are these. So if you're going to come and fight me, come at these times. John came exactly when he wasn't there, of course.
And John brought his buddy with him. And what's funny about this is that his buddy turns on the camera and then John's shadow boxing and being all tough. But the security footage covered what was happening before that, where John's like getting set up for this big theatrical act.
Oh, it's
Hey,
great.
did I see that Chip Chipperson accepted the award for Sheeterson's documentary? Is that what happened there?
That is correct. Yes, it was
It
very
was really funny. Yeah.
They got Chip to do kind of a roast of me and Anthony Cumia. And
Yeah,
Shu.
what are you doing up in New York, staring at clouds?
I didn't see that.
That was funny. I finally watched the documentary too, and I got a little bit of empathy for John, because how many times can one person be told you're not funny without it sneaking in? He is so, I think delusion is
Really
the best
is.
word. And then asshole's right below that, but delusional is number one for him.
It was a great documentary.
It was.
Has Shitterson done any other documentaries that we know of?
No, that was his first one. He's working on part 2 right now. That's going to be a multi-part series.
Wow. How many views
great.
does that have? Any idea?
Well, as I saw, it was 22,000.
Yeah,
It's been
I think
climbing.
25, yeah.
I think it's got to be one of the best ways I've seen to expand
It's good,
the
it moved.
Dabbleverse.
Yeah.
Because it's really outstanding, and for those who really don't understand what's going on, it's just a fantastic way to get acquainted with it. It's a funny documentary, even if you have no interest.
He
I think
also
you'd
put a
laugh.
clip up because of John's first response to it. Did you see that, Carl?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, I did, yes.
And it was like the most minor factual thing that John thought he got wrong. It's like, what are you talking about?
What was it?
Missing the entire point, of course.
What was John complaining about?
I'll see if I can find the.
Yeah,
video.
if you can find it. I don't remember what specifically, but so yeah, that documentary. What I love about it is you can show that to anyone. I can show that to my mom. In fact, my parents watched it. They came to the Dabby Awards. They wanted to get up to speed on stuff. You can show that to any person in your life, and they're going to go, okay, yeah, the Today Show, Jay Amano, yeah, oh yeah, Howard Stern, yeah, okay, all right. You're going to follow along and then see how all of this happened and why we're in the Dabbleverse now. And it does a great job explaining that, but it's also very entertaining.
So it's a really quick 25-second clip that he put up here.
John reviewed a little of my documentary. He's already making up lies.
And by the way, how do you become one of the most popular people on the show?
Didn't get any higher than a phone screener.
And they're
Really? I was a writer. Already, this is bullshit.
That's it.
You do work-wise. You're not a writer. What do you do?
That's what John took exception to.
And then he shows Howard saying you're not a writer,
Exactly.
which is hilarious.
I have a feeling, knowing John, he probably loves the documentary in most ways.
In a sense, because it's all about him.
Yeah. It's all about
I
him.
have a question for you guys because you've worked on a bunch of radio shows. You understand how this works. So there's guys who have different jobs on the show. Some are phone screeners, some are producers, some are segment guys. All of them are writing for the show, technically. They're all contributing.
Anyone
Yeah.
can be writing on a certain thing or throw out a line for something or hey, what would be
Right.
funny here? You know, so yeah, a lot of people could be, but they're very rarely.
Nobody was a writer. per
I don't
se.
remember
Yeah, it doesn't
anyone.
make them a writer.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, of course. So John would write notes on the call screening app, and Howard would see his notes. Like line 7 is so and so, and John will have some notes on there. And if Howard repeated what John wrote, he considers himself a writer, which is not how that works.
No, not at all.
No,
He
honestly,
wasn't in any writing meetings with that show at all because that was all Jackie. And then we've heard from who's the big buff guy? We heard
Casey Armstrong.
Casey
said that
Armstrong.
They had the Lotus Note system, and John refused to learn it. He's like, if he wanted to write, he could have. All of us had access to the system, and John refused to learn how it worked.
wow, what a lazy fucking guy. Honestly, I've just never heard people in radio shows called writers. That's just very, very, very rare. In Howard's case, yeah, that was the biggest show in the world, and it had some really creative guys who did write, quote unquote. John was never a writer.
Well, the funniest part is that Jackie Martling was the head writer of the Howard Stern Show for a very long time. This is well known. That was his title, head writer. And he was asked recently by my buddy Christian Blatt what or actually, I think it was a super chatter who wrote in and asked, "What's the funniest bit that John ever wrote for Howard?" And Jackie's like, "I can't think of one.
You stumped
me."
Well, in the doc too, they talked about Sal and Rich Christie, who would write bits and prank calls. Yeah, I mean, John never did that.
There are quite a few people in shows, who write certain things or write parody songs, but I don't know if they call themselves writers, like they're full-time writers. And if you look at the end of that show, when John left the show, wasn't John making 80 grand or something? And Jackie, the head writer, was making what, 600-700 grand?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that tell you all I need to know?
Right.
Yep.
Honestly, though, just the fact that the head writer doesn't know that you're a writer tells me that you weren't a writer. That's all I need to know.
It'd be really funny. Has a Tonight Show writer ever commented on how much writing John did there?
He's had guys on the show. Everyone's so nice about that.
I know. Yeah, they are. Oh, and
He's had some guys.
did the keychains come in? Did I see the keychains?
Yes. Did you see John's keychains that finally came in?
I thought I saw something that looked like it had a tiny, tiny type, said like Tonight Show reunion. I mean, in the tiniest type you could barely read. Is that what I saw?
Yeah, so the guy who said I could hook you with keychains, John, was trolling him the entire time. He did it masterfully because John's making every excuse in the book. Months go by, he finally gets the keychains, and they're terrible. So that was this guy's plan all along. But now, John seizes on the opportunity, says, if you want one of these autographed by me, super chat me $20 and I'll mail it to you.
$20.
Right.
He's not going to follow through on that.
He's not. And also, what's the dumbest thing you could do? Because super chats, YouTube takes 30%. If you're on an Apple device, they take another 30%. Like, that's the worst way to get money from people.
Well,
My favorite thing about the whole saga is the fact that the person who was helping him with these keychains, his name was Keith Chain.
what?
His buddy Keith Chang was going to hook him up.
And didn't John blame FedEx at one point?
Originally, when he was at the party, he put a sign up, give me your mailing address, because FedEx screwed up, and that's why we don't have the keychain. So he was blaming FedEx at first, and then months go by, like, well, probably wasn't a FedEx issue. But Brandon, he also said, so Keith Chang told him it was a Fortune 500 company that made Fortune 500.
Look how small. Mark, put the print up on the screen. Look how small that is. That's ridiculous.
Ended up being a troll the whole time.
The Tonight Show with Jay Leno reunion May. I can't even read that part.
Yeah, and then John was mad because it's supposed to say the 10th anniversary. And it didn't say that.
I wonder if anyone who actually put down their address received a stupid keychain in the mail.
No way. No way. No chance in hell.
That's really funny.
Oh, man. Wow, that is spectacular.
So I have to tell you guys, you've been to the last couple shows we've done in Detroit, Magic Bag, so you kind of know how this goes. It's an incredible weekend. It's an incredible experience. The energy that was in the room, even just start up the roast, I couldn't believe it. People were so excited to be there. And then the podcast went great. The Dabby Awards. We did brunch on Sunday. A bunch of us went to the baseball game afterwards. Like, it's such a fun time. Like, the entire weekend, we're hanging out. We had karaoke on Friday night. Everyone's up there singing karaoke. Jenny Jingles, Anthony Cumia, and Cardiff, Rocco. It's such a blast to hang out with everybody. So I'm looking forward to coming back to Ferndale.
Yeah, we'll have to find. Is Michigan home that weekend? Is there a football game?
Michigan State, I believe.
Whoa. Woo, that's a big one. Yeah, maybe we'll have to sneak out to Ann Arbor with some dabblers.
Not that big.
Who is the best singer?
Well, Jenny Jingles is the best singer. I don't know if you saw the Dabby Awards, but she did the In Memoriam live.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yes.
what did she sing?
So she sang that Sarah McLachlan song. Is it the Eyes of an Angel? What's it called?
Yeah, about the dead dog song.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is a brutal song to sing because there's no drum beat.
Wait, who is in Memoriam in the Dabbleverse?
We show all of John's co-hosts that have now left the show. So it's Stevie Lou and Claude Father and PG. So it's so funny because Jen's up there singing this really heartfelt, serious song, and meanwhile she's looking out at the crowd of people who are just busting out laughing over and over again at what we were showing on the screen.
That's hard.
Well, she's been in bands and she does a lot of professional
Killed
singing.
it.
Who of the amateur singers was the best?
Oh no,
Carl froze.
Sweet.
wait. Oh, there you go.
You froze for a second there. Didn't get your answer.
Yeah, Anthony Cumia is a fantastic singer. He went up and did Sweet Caroline, but then he also did Alice in Chains' The Rooster, which was really good.
Wow.
It's not an easy song.
Cool. Well, it sounds like a great time. And so we're back getting started today. And I was thinking, Carl's either really psyched or really tired or one or the other. And he sent over the Britney Furlan podcast where her husband, Tommy Lee, is the guest. And you sound like you were a little lukewarm on this, but anyway, we're going with it.
Yeah, well, I know you guys have been talking about this recently, and it's been on my radar for a while. I've been meaning to get to it. People can suggest it all the time. This is the worst, it's called, and normally it's Britney Furlan and her friend Brittany Schmidt, and they navigate the nightmare of existence, giving their takes on your worst moments while sharing their own unhinged stories and cringe-worthy worsts.
Yeah, it wasn't doing terribly well. I know she was a big Vine star and all that, but outside of being married to Tommy Lee, I don't think there's not much interest in her anymore. They got two beautiful girls doing this show, but it doesn't seem to be taking off.
I want to say this too, because Carl sends me the clips. I won't listen to them. I like to go in fresh, like Frank Costanza. I don't want
Larry King.
But I gotta just show, like, has there ever been a good podcast where the host sits with their legs crossed on a couch like that? Have you ever seen
That's a good question.
No, there's not. Nobody wants to see a woman sitting like that doing a podcast. Sorry.
Well, Mark, they're way too comfortable. I pointed this out before. There's a lot of shows where the hosts are too comfortable. My chairs in my studio are uncomfortable on purpose. Sit up, pay attention.
Yeah, I think there's some things that are universal, and that's definitely one of them. I don't know. That's the problem with the show. It's probably got a lot of problems, but honestly, until she had Tommy Lee on, I think they barely got 10,000 views a show, which is okay. But for somebody who was a Vine star, and has a giant following, and has a husband who was in Motley Crue, not so good.
They have 11,000 subscribers, which is surprising. This specific episode from 6 days ago has 46,000 views. So this is doing better than most, for sure.
Because he's on there. Yeah.
Right.
No other reason.
If you want to start with my clip number 3, they're talking about that pole vaulter, Anthony Ammirati. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Close enough. The French guy with the big dick.
The French guy with the big dick. And so I wanted to pull this first because it gives us a sense of Britney's sense of humor. She's a very funny gal.
Like you're just about to get the gold, and you're boing.
Damn.
Babe, that'd be you. Actually, you would probably use your as the vault. Boing. Just like, you wouldn't even need the stick. You would just use your.
Yeah, leave the pole at home.
You come with your own pole.
Yeah, and then the pole can't get in the way.
Because it is yours.
Because you're using it.
It's attached to your own body.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to whip that thing back up over the
Dude,
crossbar.
I'm saying, you gotta burp, gotta lift it back over the crossbar. I'm dead. Poor guy, and he's really handsome too.
Pretty clever stuff.
I get it.
Jesus Christ.
I think
Hey,
it was-
Tommy's got a big dick, in case anybody doesn't know that.
That's the joke.
You know, it's just so common, but this came after, I think this was after she talked about, we should talk about what's going on, and Tommy is not into what's going on. He doesn't follow. I feel like she's telling him the podcast. She tells a long true crime story, and Tommy just doesn't really know, or it seems like he's barely listening. I really feel like he's having a hard time even pretending to be interested.
Yeah, there's a lot of the conversation that happens. He's completely tuned out and checked out of. If they weren't married, I think he would have left the show. He would have walked off the show. But to your point, my clip number 1, they're talking about Wade Wilson, and this is that strangler who all the chicks are going nuts for on TikTok. He's getting all this fan mail. So this is
He's
Britney
6'6",
talking
he's
about that.
hot.
Dude, I mean, I'm shook right now though. But like, if you go on TikTok, this is how so insane these women are on TikTok. They're like, free Wade. He has mental health issues. Like, free Wade. They all want to him. They all want to date him. He's gotten like the jail said they've gotten like the most letters that any jail's ever gotten for someone.
Wow.
So this is we need a stinger for this or something. This is Carol's nitpick time. Because she said the jail said he's received more letters than any other jail. Is there a database where all the jails have all the letters that they get sent to inmates, and that's why the jail would know this?
No,
they wouldn't be an authority on that.
It's totally absurd, and Tommy is just so bored listening to the whole story, mostly with everything. But
yeah, she goes through and explains every single detail. He's like, wow, okay, yeah. And then they get off on Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
yeah.
Okay.
And this was before her time, but certainly in Tommy's prime. So you'd think he'd know all about this as clip number 2.
The weird thing is like, what's his name? Richard Ramirez. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Were you around when that was happening?
It's
Like, do you
John Five's
remember it?
guitar tech.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
John Five's guitar tech
we
does
call-
look like Richard
we
Ramirez.
call him
We'll put in a
Richard.
picture of him, dude.
Yeah.
Where were
Dave.
you when that whole thing was happening? The Night Stalker
I was on
shit.
tour.
You were on tour?
Oh, wait. Yeah, I think I was on
What
tour.
year was Night Stalker, Mike?
He does not know.
80s, I
The
believe.
80s, yeah.
The
So you were on
80s.
tour.
Definitely on tour.
Yeah, you were married. Do you remember hearing stuff about it?
Yeah.
But you didn't really care.
No, because I was never home.
And you were and it was in California.
Yeah.
And you weren't a chick, so you didn't have to worry about it.
84.
84,
Yeah.
babe. I wasn't even born yet.
God, that's
Isn't
crazy.
that so weird
Yeah.
whenever we talk about that? Like
know.
he's had like a whole life and I wasn't even born. Like you were on tour,
Did they just figure out?
Ripping it.
ripping it, famous already,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And successful.
You're
Yeah.
old.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like
You were, yeah.
just so crazy.
Did they just figure out they're 24 years apart? I mean, is that really that amazing? You've been married for 5 years and you're still amazed at everything you weren't born for, the other person experienced? Really?
I also love that she has to ask, were you famous in 1984? Yeah, you don't know her discography? Yes, of course I was.
I still think
a lot of hits out.
the worst part of that was her baby impersonation at the end.
Yeah.
Jesus
Very-
Christ, not funny.
And also not good when you're talking about a girl that you've now married. It's like, oh my gosh, when you were banging on those groupies, I was just like a baby. Like, ugh. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's not talk about that.
Now, can we be sure that Tommy was on tour when Richard Ramirez was the Night Stalker? Because he was the Night Stalker really for quite a while. It wasn't
The
just
80s.
one. And yeah, the 80s. How did he know he was on tour? He just didn't give a fuck.
Also, what a dumb question. Where were you when that was happening?
He didn't give a fuck.
Cares?
She
What
has
do you mean?
terrible questions, like when they talk about the groupie that took the distributor cap off the engine so they couldn't leave and they were hiding in the vehicle. And she's, what's a distributor cap do? It's like, why would you ask that?
It
Yeah,
distributes.
the car couldn't start. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain why that works that way.
Although Tommy does explain it.
He does. He does explain, mansplains it to her. My clip number 4, there's a setup for this I want to talk to you about because getting back to penis humor. Now,
Yeah.
Tommy and the French pole vaulter, big penises. We heard all the jokes for that. Good stuff. But I guess their tour manager in the 80s had a very small penis. And the band would all, after the shows, get naked and get into the hot tub with girls. And this guy would too. And so they'd goof on him for having a small penis. And Britney's got some zingers for this.
And everyone be
yeah.
naked, and then the tour manager would show up, and everyone
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, come on,
Dude.
God!"
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm craving mini hot dogs, gherkins, dude, jerking a gherkin. Okay, what else we have? What else do we have on here?
Oh my God.
Wow.
I love how she just basically takes his stories and retells them to him.
If producer Chris ever said, "Now I'm craving mini hot dogs," he'd be fired.
Yeah.
The worst line ever.
That's how I
They're
felt
also
when-
cocktail wieners, just saying, if I really want to
Right,
be nitpicky.
would make more sense.
It's just humor. I mean, it sounds funnier too, cocktail wiener.
she just has really nothing.
She's empty.
Strong. Yeah, it's just the most basic, boring, lowest common denominator humor.
I mean, look at her, Drew. That's who you're talking about right there. That is
she's
nothing
beautiful,
going on.
beautiful to look at. But honestly, she's just trying to dig Tommy stories out of Tommy, and he doesn't even really want to tell them. And he's already been bored by the first half hour of
He doesn't
crap
want
he
to
didn't
be there.
care about.
He does not want to be there.
Is she one of those women that just thinks if she does like dick jokes or says dirty things that it's automatically funny because she's a woman?
Yeah, because guys have laughed at her for her entire life.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah, I
Because they
think
want to get in her pants.
it makes
Yeah.
her feel funny or hot or both. I think, and it doesn't have that effect for me.
No.
So my clip number 5, we're gonna go on a little journey together because I guess she's really into the supernatural and supernatural
great.
experiences she has, and so she wants Tommy to talk about his supernatural experiences.
He's not going to want to talk.
You've never had like crazy supernatural experiences, but you've had some.
Just some, but not me personally.
No, you did in your house. Remember?
Oh.
I want you to tell about it. The Malibu house.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they were.
Yeah. So you think that house, the house in Malibu, you think was built on Indian burial ground?
Yes. Yes. Found out that it was.
Oh, it was? For sure found out it was.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The Chumash.
The Chumash
Indians.
Oh my God.
Glad they shared a picture of it.
And so much bad shit happened there.
That explains a lot of the weird shit for sure.
I mean, the kid drowning, which was not your fault.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa.
I had no idea a 4-year-old died in his pool during a party.
Yeah.
And it was because the Chumash Indians had a burial ground at that site. It's news to me. I read a lot of the article and none of them referenced that.
Yeah, Carl, I looked it up too, and it sounded like the child was left unattended for over a minute.
Yeah, well,
that was the explanation I
the Native
saw.
Americans had him.
And it seemed like wasn't she trying to kind of talk Tommy into the fact that he had a supernatural experience? Because he said, no, I know other people that have, but then suddenly that just sort of came up.
Is he going to return? Is he going to return the land to the Native Americans, whose the sacred burial is?
He doesn't live there anymore. That was the place he lived at with what's her nuts?
Pam. Yeah, no, he already did turn it over to them.
Okay,
I'm sure he did.
gotcha. All right, that's why Pam's
I'm almost
homeless.
sure.
I love though that she goes, yeah, a lot of supernatural things happen, like that boy drowning, and you can tell she's like, but that wasn't your fault. Oh shit! I should have brought that up.
No, I swear she brought up, Carl, I thought like 9 or 10 things that he wanted nothing to do with and did not want to talk about, and that had to be number one.
That had to be number one. Why would you bring that up? That's not supernatural. That's just we're not paying attention because we're getting wasted and there's children in the pool floating face down.
Yeah, and also the kids, the supernatural activity in the small children's bedroom. Their kids who were like 2 and 4.
I have that. This is my my clip number 6. So finally we get to the real story about all the haunted going-ons at this house.
You remember the stuff I was telling you about with the kids?
Yeah, tell that. That's so nuts.
There'd be times where, I don't know, it's 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, put the kids to sleep. I don't know, TV's on, and go back an hour or so later to check on them.
Is he making this up?
And turn the TV off because they'd fall asleep with it on.
Oh, good.
Go in there and turn the TV off.
Yeah.
Okay, they're asleep. Go back down, and then, maybe midnight. I'm like, I hear stuff, right? And I'm like, what the hell? I go back in there. The boys are still asleep, but the TV's on, and they can't reach the TV. They're little.
Yeah, they're just kids. Like
Yeah,
little
they
tiny
can't
babies.
reach the TV to turn it on or off. And I'm like, I know I turned the TV off.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now, I don't want to speak out of school. I obviously don't want to get sued or anything like that. But wasn't Tommy an alcoholic back then?
Yeah. Also, it seems, I don't want to be judgy either, but it seems like you'd move the kids out of that room if it was that serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. Like sometimes TVs turn on, you can put them on timers and different things like that. Sometimes you forget to turn it off and maybe you thought you did, but you're drinking with your buddy or with Pam and so you forgot.
How old were his kids? Did he say at what age they were
They
at?
had to be really little.
I mean, they could have had the remote and turned it on. I mean, kids sometimes pretend they sleep and then the parent leaves and they turn the TV on.
No shit. There were living things in that room where a TV was turned on. A lot of ways that could have happened.
But Carl, there were also ghosts of Native Americans there.
Indian burial ground. Right.
Yeah.
No, but that explains it all, obviously. That and that's amazing. Tommy figured it out too. Because that would have been tough if they'd been sued over the 4-year-old that died and he hadn't, been able to figure that out yet.
Britney really wants there to be something going on that Tommy could talk about with ghosts or something. And apparently, my clip number 7, it turns out Tommy likes rooms to be dark.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah.
It would freak me the out.
I like it dark.
I know you do, but I'm like, that's why I'm surprised you've never seen a ghost, because you've been in so many situations where you always have a black bedroom.
Yeah.
Huh?
Is there a correlation between painting a wall black and seeing ghosts? Because I'm not aware of that.
No, I don't think so.
Well, ghosts only come out when it's really dark. Is that her point?
Apparently.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It is.
All right. Now, my clip number 8 This Tommy's like, you know what? I do have a crazy story. You won't even be able to explain how this happened to me.
But the one thing that is really weird is the one thing that did happen at your Malibu house where you said that was the craziest thing. Remember when you woke up out of bed?
Oh, yeah.
That's really creepy.
Yeah, that is a weird sensation when you wake up.
Well, say what happened.
You don't even know how you got there. You wake up and kneeling down, fully naked, and the sun's starting to come up. It's in the morning, and I wake up and I'm on the ground, on my knees, and I'm crying.
And that's how you woke up.
And that's how I woke up, and I was
knees.
like, "What the?" I'm crying. I'm on my knees. The sun's rising, and I have no idea how I got there. And
That's so weird. You don't remember getting out of bed or anything.
Nope.
You just opened your eyes and you were on
And I was
your
just
knees.
there.
I have a clue. I think the clue might be, remember when he said he drank 2 gallons of vodka a day?
Yeah.
I think that might be a big clue as to how he woke up there.
Did you see how Britney was trying to sell it? She's like, whoa. And then what? And then you didn't know, you remember getting out of bed, and then you're like kneeling, whoa, and the sun's up.
Why doesn't she just tell the stories?
Exactly.
He has no interest
Wow.
in telling these stories.
Eventually, that's where we get to, Mark.
Okay.
We're getting there pretty soon. He's just like, you tell it, that's fine. But what's so dumb is like, yeah, I had the first thought as well. Like some people sleepwalk. That's
Yeah,
pretty common.
yeah.
But also coming to out of a blackout or a brownout happens to alcoholics all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would immediately suspect not the supernatural, but super good drugs. Something to do with it. And
But
he was
no.
around plenty of those.
Brittany is convinced the reason that happened is because he was probably possessed by demons in my clip number 9.
Like
That is so scary. I wonder if there was like possession or like weird demonic. You know how sometimes
Someone
like,
calling me to the window. I don't know.
or like sometimes I just feel like when we're vulnerable, you know, I mean, I grew up Catholic, so obviously like I believe in all that stuff. Like I believe in possession. I think people can get possessed. I do believe in demonic energy and demonic spirits. I know
yeah,
some
but you're
people.
crazy.
You don't believe in that at all?
No.
Not at all? No, you don't believe in any demons. You don't think demons are real?
So
Boy, this show feels like such hard work for Tommy. I feel like he was exhausted after this is over.
Yeah.
But also, what kind of interview style is that? Do you believe in demons? No. Wait, you don't believe in demons? Hold on a second. You don't believe in demons? Like, yeah, I just said I don't. But next question. What are we doing? But she goes on to talk about, at this point, Tommy's completely shuts down. He wants nothing to do with this conversation. She starts talking about the afterlife and does hell exist? She's not sure or not. My clip number 10, Tommy wants none of this.
You just think when we die, huh?
Yeah.
That's all you think?
Yeah.
Just blackness?
No.
What do you think?
I don't really like to talk about it.
Oh, private?
Yeah.
Bored.
You're like, I don't want to talk about dying.
Yeah, what are we talking about? I thought this was...
Tommy gets weird when I talk about like all of my like deep thoughts because I'm always like
Yeah.
I'm always trying to figure it out.
Oh my God.
She's so deep. So deep.
Here's
Gotta
the theory for Brittany, because she's like, wait, what do you mean? It's blackness? No, remember what your life was like in 1984 before you were born? Maybe it's like that. Pretty simple way to figure that out. It's a possibility. So I think that Tommy's probably realizing, like, this isn't fun for anyone. We're going to start talking about hell and demons. I don't care about any of this stuff. This is really stupid. So then she pivots and goes, oh, I got it. Let's talk aliens. Let's see how this goes.
I believe in aliens though, for sure. That's definitely real, for sure. You don't believe in that either, huh? He doesn't even care.
Are you married?
You don't believe in aliens?
I love that response. He's just like, like that's literally the time that he would have gotten up and walked away if they didn't live together.
Oh, it's got to be hard to listen to her 24/7.
That is such a great response.
It's literally the shoulder shrug emoji right there. I want to save that on my phone and just send that to people. They tell me things I don't care about.
I feel
All right,
so confident that she talks too much. I mean, I just don't have any doubt in my head at all.
I agree.
Just none.
So then she decides, I have Tommy Lee from Motley Crue on my show. Let's talk about crazy groupies. Like, that's the kind of story people want to hear. And I think Drew and I were messaging earlier today. This is what you were picking up on, where, how old's Tommy Lee? 62?
Yeah.
Does he want to talk about crazy groupie stories from 1984?
No, I think they've kind of already tried to disavow a lot of the crazy book that came out. Like, well, some of it's exaggerated because it really was being brought up a lot at one time, like 2017, 2018. And so they were kind of get away from it. And no, she's just digging right into it. And I don't think he likes this at all.
Yeah, so the question, my clip number 12 is, what's the craziest thing a groupie has ever done? And Tommy,
what's the craziest thing that a groupie has done? And that's one thing that I've asked you before.
Oh.
I remember you were telling me about it. I put the note there.
What's the craziest thing a groupie has not done? Well, that's hard to define the craziest. Like,
yeah.
What do you like?
I mean, just like, you put this one, the first one was the one with the girl and the champagne bottle.
Oh. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
So tell what happened.
Tell what happened.
Why are you being so shy, dude?
Well, I don't know.
You're
It's
being
just
all bashful and shit.
Well, it's pretty gnarly.
Okay,
that's
tell it.
That's the only reason I get a little reserved, because it's up.
I mean, it's not fucked up that you didn't
Not
do anything.
like torturous or bad or anything. It's just weird. Just weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
So
maybe
say it.
we should, giraffe.
You don't want to say it?
Yeah,
you
I don't
change
know.
your mind?
What's that?
You change your mind? Do you want me to say it?
Yeah, sure. Then it can be your story.
Yeah, he does not want to talk.
What wives want their husband to tell a story like this? I mean,
Well,
a
also,
champagne bottle and a groupie.
Yeah, he was treating the groupies like they weren't human beings. And so it's not a good look in this day and age to be like, yeah, we treated them all like sex objects, didn't give a shit about them, and fucked with them a lot. Do you want to tell the story that she then tells us, Drew?
Sure. And by the way, she sort of gives a shit about his feelings, kind of like he didn't give a shit about the groupie's feelings. It's almost the same thing.
Good point.
But yeah, a girl comes. She wants to fuck the whole band.
Right.
And Tommy says, "Oh wow, well I got to go ask the other guys. But why don't you sit on this champagne bottle while I'm gone? And if you get off, then the deal's off. Even though there isn't really a deal." So
Now,
he leaves.
I have a question about that. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I told you to tell the story, and I'm interrupting. But when he tells that story, he says, "Take off all your clothes, sit in this champagne bottle, and ask the guys. We'll come back because they're in his room." Is she inserting the champagne bottle? Is that the gist that you got out of this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I'm wondering if she's like having a great time with the champagne bottle, or what's happening during this.
I think she was just sort of numb and just had a champagne bottle. I don't think she was really getting off, but she was sitting on it faithfully. And he said, if you don't sit on it, then the deal's off. And then he's gone for like 20 minutes, and he comes back, and she's still sitting on the champagne bottle.
Well,
it's
that certainly
crazy.
doesn't make your vagina sound very appealing.
Then he leaves for another 30 minutes and comes back, and she's still sitting on it. And guess what? The band didn't want to fuck her. So I guess that didn't work out too well for her, although she got to sit on the champagne bottle.
He just humiliated this girl who, obviously was out of her mind at the time and probably regrets this entire incident.
And once again, the moral of the story is they did not keep up their end of a bargain.
Yeah, no, they didn't. And
she did what he wanted
no
to do.
contracts were signed.
True.
It was not
Verbal contract.
But what wife wants their husband to tell that story?
One with a bad podcast.
Right, yeah, she's desperate for some entertaining content on this show, so she's grasping at straws. They start talking about how cheating is impossible in this day and age. This is my clip 13 out here.
Like, social media has put the kibosh on dudes cheating.
A wrap.
Like, there's literally almost no way.
There is no
Cell
way.
phones have put the kibosh on guys cheating.
Yeah.
Because a girl will just go through a cell phone and be like, what the is this?
Yeah.
Like, you can't hide everything.
Yeah.
And even if you delete something, there's a way to pull it back up.
Yeah, that's impossible.
You would have been so.
Oh my God.
But you aren't really a cheater.
No,
I love that response.
Yeah,
but you're not really cheating. No, not me, no.
And I never will be.
Except I believe during the champagne bottle he would have been married to Heather Locklear, but maybe that's not cheating.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, she really tries to sell this idea to Tommy. Oh, he's a big relationship guy. The book talks about him fucking everyone every night, and he was married to Heather Locklear the whole time.
And actually, that clip right there, where she's like, "But you're not a cheater," and he's like, "Yeah, no, of course not me." It reminded me of an interview with Eddie Van Halen and Valerie Bertinelli in 1982. This is like some kind of fluff piece that they were doing on one of the networks. And it's my clip 16. This is so awkward. Watch how Eddie's a bad liar. Watch how Eddie answers this question, and then they kind of cut it off. And watch Valerie realize, like, oh shit, he's cheating on me.
Okay, so maybe they don't agree on everything, but they do seem to make their marriage work, even while Eddie's on the road, which is quite a feat considering we've all heard a rock star's life is groupies, drinking, late hours, and hard drugs.
But does it apply to Edward Van Halen?
Take a guess.
No, none of it.
Oh, the look on her face.
The late hours and drinking, maybe, yeah.
But the groupies, all the other.
I'm married. I wouldn't do that.
I certainly hope not.
Certainly hope not. That was pretty. The look on her face.
He goes, "What do you think?" I think originally they're just like, "So wait, are you like staying out late, fucking girls, doing drugs and drinking?" It's just like, "Yeah, what do you think? I'm in Van Halen. I'm the best guitarist on the planet. What do you think I'm doing?" Yes. And he's like, "I mean, oh, my wife's here." No, I don't like any of those things. It's all awful.
The way he put his hand over his mouth, like she couldn't hear him or something.
Yeah.
Because I think he wanted to look cool, but didn't want to be too rude about it. But it didn't work out very well.
Yeah, you know what I think he was doing? Probably fucking some groupies.
Yeah, I think it was that look on her face right there, like, oh shit.
Yeah, her whole expression changed.
Boy.
Ugh.
It just reminded me of that. And the other thing too, when they're talking about like you can't cheat anymore because of phones, I think there is some truth to that. And I was watching a show the other day. It might have been my buddy Dick. I forget who was talking about it. Was saying that there's a lot more people who are saying that they're polyamorous now. Like, I'm polyamorous. And it's because it's like, yeah, I can't get away with cheating anymore. I used to be able to, no problem, but now I get caught all the time. So,
but I do see stories about where people are divorcing and cheating is part of the reason. So it seems like people are still cheating. Maybe they get caught more often.
I think they're getting caught more often for sure. I think that's a big part of it.
But I wondered, it seemed like in the course of this discussion, there were so many things that a wife would never bring up about their husband or want to talk about. Is she just incapable of jealousy, or does she just not care? I couldn't figure out what that is.
Using him, maybe? Maybe she doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, maybe that. I mean, to want to bring all these stories out to puff up her podcast, but they all are, pretty embarrassing stories and make him sound like a complete slug.
She's not picking up on his body language either. Like people who are married would know immediately, like, oh, I shouldn't have gone there. My bad.
I bet you every conversation has that body language, though.
Seems like
disinterest. And that whole thing about, oh my God, I wasn't even born. Like, wow, was that the first time something from the 80s came up since they've been together? It's just weird.
My clip 15, at the end of the show, they get questions that I mentioned there. They talk about all these crazy things that are going on. The word crazy gets brought up a lot on this show. We can make a whole
yes, it does.
super clip of them just saying, whoa, it's so crazy. So they talk about these unhinged stories, these cringeworthy worsts. And so a listener, maybe it's fake, it's probably all made up, but this is a whopper of a story. There is no way any of this happened. My clip 15, this is bullshit.
Okay. When I was younger, me and my friends were riding around in my friend's car. We were so bored and we decided to pull up next to people and moon them. We pull up next to this silver car and my friend has to poop like a prairie dog, like prairie dogging it. What does that mean?
A prairie dog just pokes up out of the hole.
Oh, like prairie dogging it. Oh my God. I can't. The shit's popping out. He gets up to moon this car, spreads his cheeks to show them the poop poking out. We're all dying laughing. We pull ahead of the car and take off. That's when we hear a siren and see lights. It was an unmarked police car. Oh my God. Now we're freaking out. We have weed in the car and my friend still has to shit so bad. We pull over and the cop comes up to the window. The driver goes to hand the cop his ID, and as he does, the cop yells, "I don't want just your license. I want the sick piece of shit's ID too. As my friend goes to grab his wallet from his back pocket, he can't hold his shit anymore and he shits himself right there with the cop at our window.
Oh my God!
Bullshit.
No way. A bullshit story. So this whole idea that, you know, the turtle's poking his head out or whatever prairie dog metaphor they're using out here. Once that happens, that's the last barrier right there.
Yeah.
Right? So go ahead and review it in Toronto. That's all the way over the goal line. That's we're counting now. Let's go to the scoreboard. Because the idea that the poop was coming out, they sucked it back in, and it was coming out again, is just not how that works at all.
It's poop.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. That would take some incredible anal control, but pretty doubtful.
Sphincter.
I've never sucked in a poop before. I don't know. Maybe people do it.
Yeah, I think I have to try that.
So that was just a made-up story. It's like, wow, isn't that crazy? And Tommy has to sit there and be like, oh, wow, that's nuts. Meanwhile, he's got a billion real stories that are way crazier.
Worse, yeah.
No, I hate when shows depend on just total bullshit, crazy stories from listeners, because there are a few shows that are very listener oriented. Either they are all about emails or stories people send in. They're always bullshit.
Dax Shepard does that now.
Oh, does he?
Yes, he reads these emails they get in, and then they discuss it, and it's obviously made up. It's not real. It's not real story.
I heard a whopper of a made-up story on broadcast radio this morning.
Oh, did you? Would it be Dave and Chuck?
No, it wasn't. It was Mojo's show.
Okay. Oh, is it? Wait.
They do a segment called "Am I an Asshole?" So this guy called up. So first off, he's going to tell this story on broadcast radio that he went. There's so many holes in the story. He went with his buddy who was going to get a divorce. So he went with his buddy to the attorney. I mean, I don't know. Do guys do that? I don't think so. And so while they're there, his buddy's like, yeah, you should get some papers drawn up just in case. And the guy's like, my relationship's fine, but I had this lawyer draw up papers, which, once again, would cost money to do. Yeah. And am I an asshole for doing that? And I keep them locked away in my car. It's like, this was a whole jumping off point to where then the show had to pretend that they were really intrigued by it. I don't know, the whole thing, there's so many holes in the story. It's like, you did not go with your money. You certainly did not pay a lawyer to have, divorce papers drawn up when you're in a perfectly fine relationship.
There must be some really gullible people, I guess, that listen to shows like this. Or how does that work?
I heard a real story about a guy who won these bouquet of flowers, and then he got to choose who to send the flowers to. And it turned out that it wasn't his wife; it was his girlfriend. I couldn't believe it.
That happens all the time now.
It was like a war of roses. Yeah, it was a crazy story. You can't believe it.
So stupid. Oh God! And yet I listened to the whole segment.
I know. So
who's the fool?
I always listen to that fake shit just to see how bad
out of
it
anger.
is.
Yeah.
You guys like to listen to things that suck? Yeah, me too. I have one more clip on here, and
You're
this
pretty good at
is a bizarre conversation. You know what? I don't even think I have to set this one up. My clip 14. Let's just hear it.
Some people are like weird like that. They're like, shit on me, piss on me. Like, what would you do if a girl was like, my dream is to shit? Like, what if I said to you, I want to shit on you? Like sexually.
We'd have to have some more conversation
You would
about that.
throw up.
Well, I'm like
You would vomit.
No, I would throw up because I can't deal with just your. I can't deal with your shits that are in water coming out of the toilet bowl, let alone on me.
Oh my God! Stop.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, you guys should do a whole special on your enormous logs.
Now, I have a question. There's some married men here that I'm talking to. Do you know the size of your wife's logs?
No, God, no.
What, she
discuss it.
She leave them in the toilet?
That's what I'm wondering, because she goes, oh, yeah, they're like the Loch Ness Monster. They just come up, and at times you're like, oh, yeah, they're record breakers, those logs. Like, why are you leaving that?
That's a great point. Yeah,
that's like her wanting him to tell stories about fucking groupies and stuff. That's what I mean. Is there no jealousy? Is nothing off the table in this relationship? Are they that close that they talk about everything? I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
What do you think about his initial reaction, though? Where it's like, hey, can I shit on you? And he's like, we'd have to talk about that for a minute, I think.
No. I don't think he was too up for that.
I do like that was the most interested in anything she said, that whole about all the clips. That was what really got him alive.
Turds.
Yeah.
Why would he want her to shit on him? Because she's hot? No, she's his fucking wife. Do you think they screw a lot, these two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
look at her.
But then why wouldn't she be a little jealous instead of, but she brings up these stories about him fucking other people all the time. I would think she'd be a little jealous if she actually likes him in that way.
Maybe they're polyamorous. I've heard that's a thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
What is Got Sex?
I gotta tell you, I don't think he'll be doing another of her podcasts for a long time. That was work. He was not happy.
It is. Yeah. It's not a great show. It's not very interesting at all.
And he was bored as fuck.
You know what is interesting is my boy Woke Dad.
Yes.
Yes, Daniel Alexander has a new friend. I want to introduce you to Bruce Wayne in this first TikTok. Oh, should we play a stinger? I don't want to just jump right into it.
I would do anything in my power to keep him happy, healthy, and safe. The name that they would call their superhero was I stand up against injustice, standing up for what's right. Dress up and have fun. I called him out on his bad behavior, homophobia, transphobia. It's the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen in my life. I create safe spaces for kids. I have 2 queer kids myself. Kids in the trans community. Sometimes it just takes me correcting people. Homophobia, transphobia. And my kid's superhero. Trying to make the world a better place. LGBTQI, LGBTQI, LGBTQI.
That's so good. I got to get him to do a short version for us, but I love sometimes I correct people.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, Jesus.
An asshole. Sometimes. All the time.
I'm glad that is set to the Batman theme because that's going to be very relevant for what we're about to play. He has a new friend. He's named Bruce Wayne. Let's meet Bruce.
Oh boy, do we ever have a conversation to have, and it's about this little guy. I've called him Bruce Wayne because he looks kind of like a bat, so he's got to be Batman, right? I posted a video about him the other day, and people were concerned in my comment section about how I was caring for him. So let me tell you, I found this little guy almost dead on the side of the road a few days ago.
Of course you did.
And it became pretty evident pretty early on that he had a lot of things against him, and he probably wasn't even going to make it the day. We cleaned up most of the fleas, and we still keep going at it at least 2 or 3 times a day. He's looking pretty good at this point.
Hero.
His eyes and his nose are still goopy because he's got a definite head or chest cold, and we're under the advice of a veterinarian, so he'll make it through that. That'll be okay. He doesn't have an eye infection. He's been cleaned, he's been eating right, he's been going to the bathroom right, he's been drinking right, and he absolutely just loves to sit in my hand. Every time he's next to me and my body temperature, he just passes out. Now, he is in the shed because he's on quarantine from the other pets, but he has his own private little heater out here, and he's doing really well with that. So if I can give you some advice, maybe not judging somebody on the internet that you don't really know based on a 60-second clip. Maybe you don't know all of the story. Maybe you don't know everything that's going on. And maybe that person has a lot of experience in caring for sick animals, and they're going to do this right. Just a thought.
Yeah, don't ever criticize Woke Dad for anything. I knew as soon as some people were concerned about how I was caring, I knew he was going to tell them why they were wrong. I knew that part at least.
Stop judging him. He's taking care of a very cute kitten right now. That proves he's a great guy.
Does he?
What else do you need to know?
Pussy. Has he ever acknowledged being just in the wrong about anything?
No, definitely not. Not that I've seen. Not a single time.
Because I think it's hard to even find a clip where he's not the hero.
It's impossible. There are no clips like that.
Okay.
And I do have to tell you guys, I'm going to start a new TikTok where I'm going to try to woke Dad.
I heard you talking about that.
That is in the works, so I'll be launching that very soon. But what's the next day? He puts out another clip about his new special little guy, Bruce Wayne, and again, This is proving what a great guy Daniel Alexander is.
I have spent a big portion of my life trying to save lives. That's why I'm a human rights advocate. That's why I'm a trans rights advocate. I know for sure that being an affirming adult in a trans kid's life is enough to save their life, whether it's a parent or a coach or a friend or an ally and an accomplice. You haven't seen me much and doing a lot of content on that much because over the last weekend I've been trying to save this little guy's life. I found him almost dead on the side of the road. For me, it's about compassion. Compassion for other people, compassion for other creatures, compassion for things that may not quite be the same as me or people who may not quite be the same as me. This little guy's just about as grateful as it gets, but he's still got an uphill battle to face. We're facing a really bad cold that's scooping up his eyes and his nose.
Aww.
But under the advice of veterinarians and under a lot of proper care, he's doing a lot better. Compassion for others is a driving force in my life. That's why I'm voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Because I have compassion for other people.
Where'd that come from?
Not just cis, straight, white men.
Look at that.
Oh, God.
Look at that face. Who wants to hit that face?
Is there one word he uses that bothers you above all other words?
Compassion, maybe?
Affirming.
Affirming.
I was going to say affirming. It's so annoying to me because he keeps saying that his affirming love for the trans people keep them alive. And I don't know how to connect those dots. It doesn't make any sense for me. It's like the underwear gnomes. I'm like, there's a missing component here I'm not following.
No, I totally agree. And he uses it all the time. Oh, he's awful.
I love that he's like the only person who's ever loved a cat before. It's like, I know most people wouldn't even like an adorable little kitten, but I do. Like, yeah, no, we all do. It's not that impressive.
I mean, can you imagine if the vet, every time they did something nice for an animal, posted something about how much they
How many
love
lives
saving
they've saved?
lives and they're so helpful and look what I did for this animal. My God.
There's real EMTs that don't talk about saving people's lives as much as he does.
No, you're right.
He implied that if you vote for Trump, the only people who will be helped by that are cis white men. And Trump even hates kittens, apparently. I had no idea. I gotta rethink this whole thing now. This is crazy. I love that he made the move to Kamala Harris on that.
Yeah, that was quite out of left field. Yeah.
So the day after that, he gives us another update on Bruce Wayne.
Uh-oh.
Can't wait.
That's all you want to say about it?
Yep.
Because I already saw the text.
Yep. That's all I want to say.
Thing was enough to keep it on this earth and no one would ever hurt again. I only knew you 4 days, but love is a funny thing and loss is a funny thing. It's so
The text says,
You killed Bruce Wayne?
The text says, rest in peace, Bruce Wayne.
No!
Special thanks to the vet text that helped us through this journey. Which,
I think maybe that cat should have been with the vet the whole time.
I guess that's one more life he needs to not have on his board of lives saved.
Right.
No one would ever
And
hurt
I'm not
again.
trying to make light of this. He was trying to do the right thing here, and it's very funny that he built himself up like, I'm doing the right thing. I know what I'm doing. We got this. And then the day later, he's like, oh, that didn't work. My bad.
But he does have a nice montage here, though, of all the special moments he got to spend with Bruce.
And Mark,
no one would ever hurt again.
watch the acting here. And listen, we all get upset when we lose a pet. I've definitely gotten upset about losing a pet. This was a kitten he had for 4 days, and watch how he reacts to that.
I only knew you 4 days, but love is a funny thing and loss is a funny thing. It's sort of a reminder that all of this is really short, that the time that we have here is precious. We need to make the best of it, because the best of it is what survives us. When all is said and done, when we leave this place, the measure of a person isn't how much wealth they had, it's not how much money they carried through this world, but it's the memories that they make. The memories that they leave with others, the memories that they have in the hearts and minds of those who love them. So since I named this little guy Bruce Wayne, because he looked like a bat and reminded me of Batman, I'm going to leave you with this moral.
Vote for Kamala.
Always be yourself. Unless you can be Batman. And then always be Batman. I only knew you 4 days. But you'll be missed.
Oh. Hey, quick question. How did the cat die? Are we sure this thing didn't off itself after spending 4 days with him? Did he find it hanging from the rafters of that room right there? And a little kitty cat noose made out of yarn? Because he didn't want to deal with being a prop?
You know, I want those people that question him about how to carry the animal. I wish they would come in going, yeah, I don't think you know everything about cats. That thing would be alive, you asshole.
I was thinking about that too, and I'm like, that's too mean even for me. I'm not going to get involved in that.
But what a shithead. I mean, they're just trying to help. You know,
I know.
Sometimes people don't carry animals the best way, and they're just trying to be nice. And he has to be sure to come out and tell them all, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't seem like you know everything, or else you would have taken the cat or the animal to the vet.
Yeah, for a 4-day-old kitten is very tough to care for. That really needs his mother. So that was that was going to be a tough slide, but he seemed overly confident about it.
He was really cocky about it. That cat needed a professional, in my opinion. Although I know it is terrible to lose an animal.
Love wins over everything, he told us. Remember in the first cut?
Right. Yeah, that's
all
right.
you need.
Forgot about that.
But also, I love the fact that I don't think he's heard his jingle because he goes, "Be yourself unless you can be Batman. Then be Batman." Wow, how appropriate was that statement? That's perfect.
Well, he has said didn't his kids say he's a superhero?
Yep.
Yeah. He asked his kids to draw their favorite superhero, and both of them drew him.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
All right, you ready for the worst acting ever? I've watched a lot of Dan Alexander. I've never seen this level. It's so douchey and annoying.
Do we need to read what is on the screen here?
Okay, so it doesn't read the whole thing, but basically it says Democrats' policies destroy minority communities, blah, 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 blah. So he's responding to that.
Fake!
Oh, God.
I can't even get this out. You know who disagrees with you? Anybody that's a part of a minority community. I love that you're I love that you're discussing democratic policies as being the reason for high food and gas prices.
Oh, he can't even breathe. He's laughing so
When our
hard.
government's mostly made up of conservatives right now, do you know what the Congress looks like? Do you know what our highest court looks like? And you're blaming it on one dude and his policies? And healthcare.
He wiped away a non-existent tear.
People who believe in universal health care so people don't have to pay for it. And you think they're the problem about higher health care prices?
Oh, fuck off.
Oh my God, you're delusional. Oh, thank you. Oh God, I needed that laugh today.
I've never laughed that hard or that long over anything.
It's got to be the worst thing for the
So
Democratic
fake.
Party to have someone be that big an asshole about something so dubious.
Did you like what it said on the board behind him, though, on at his coffee shop?
Didn't notice.
Today's special, and so are you.
Oh.
So
adorable.
Oh God!
Just remember that guy.
Wow. Yeah, people like that who talk politics, who have no understanding of anything nuanced or deeper than just the high level. Vote for this person, everything's great. Like, really? That's how that works? Because we've been trying this for 250 years. That's how it works. But okay, you say so. So I have one more clip out here from Woke Dan, and this is him going back to how amazing he is, all his amazing accomplishments. Guys, when I pull these clips, just so you know, in case you think I'm digging through months and months of TikToks, I just look at the last 5 or 6. I go, these four work. Crazy.
A lot of the most incredible things I've had in my life, especially over the last few years, have been things I didn't plan for. I didn't plan to have a trans kid. I didn't plan to stand in front of the governor of the state of New York because she signed the Trans Safe Haven bill into law. I didn't plan to quit my job of 14 years, and I most definitely didn't plan to ever open an art studio. Most definitely not an art studio to support kids in vulnerable communities like my kiddos that belong to the LGBTQIA community. I didn't plan any of that. I didn't plan to be doing all this work on this space myself, and thanks to you guys, I've been able to get a lot farther than I ever expected. I mean, this room alone has, I don't know, $500 or $600 worth of new electrical supplies in it, and thanks to donations from friends out there, whether it's through the Amazon wish list or donations through the GoFundMe, you guys have supported a lot. That's all amazing, because I never expected to be this close to opening. I never expected to have the space ready so soon.
God, you're incredible.
And as I sit here wiring in outlets thinking about the power getting hooked up next week and the few things that I still have left to work through, I'm getting excited about the opportunity to save lives. And that's all thanks to you.
Except for that cat.
And your support. So, not everything that's unexpected is rough or tough or hard. Some of them are just plain incredible.
This is what I want to know. And maybe you guys can help me with this because I am detached. He's excited about the opportunity to save lives. How does building an art studio save lives exactly? What's the connection there?
There's none. And, when I think about an art studio that, kids are going to be using, is there a lot of trolling and racism and fighting in an art studio typically when you don't have all gay people?
Nope. No. Public schools right now, everyone in those schools is trans and non-binary. I doubt they're getting trolled all day long.
And they never fight amongst themselves ever. Unless a straight person gets mixed up with them.
I hate to go down this road for woke dad, but he's saying about all these unexpected things are wonderful and better, right? Mm-hmm. I'm glad he loves his kid. I can't imagine, though, having a trans kid because their lives would be a lot harder, period. So is that really a welcome surprise? Do you know what I mean? The kid's life is automatically harder.
Yeah,
Mark,
of course it is.
According to him,
but he's
better. At risk of dying every single day because this kid is trans. And so you sit there and you go, but then, why are we celebrating this? That sounds terrible.
Thank you. All right.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's a tough life for your kid.
With his affirming care, though, he's able to overcome all that.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, it did help him save a lot of lives.
I brought this up on WATS this week. I don't know if we've talked about it, but he's got two GoFundMes. He's got one for the art studio, but the other one is a pay it forward fund. Listen to the description of this pay it forward fund. It says, this is a pay it forward fund. All the proceeds will go to offering kindness within my community.
Well, that's a little open-ended.
Is that a scam? That's what we call a scam, right?
Yeah. I think I'd like a forensic accountant to look into what that fund is doing with the money.
I'm going to start one of those, kindness fund, and then I'm going to spend it on Michigan football tickets because it spreads joy in my world.
It does. So, probably not for the next couple of years, but for the most part, for sure.
Hey, he's not in a real, he's in sort of a rural area, isn't he, Woke Dad?
Yeah.
So are there just scads, dozens and dozens of LGBTQI kids who are going to pour into that art studio? It doesn't seem like it'd be that many.
Or better yet, if his kids' lives are in danger nonstop, why don't you move to a major metropolitan area that's maybe more welcoming?
Accommodating?
If you can.
Or would it be nice to let the straight the straight kids work at the art studio too?
No. Not until they come out, Drew. Then they can come out.
Then they get a present too. They get a present on their coming out.
Wait, he's a straight cis male white gender guy. Like, can he go in the art studio?
I guess not.
That's the only one allowed. It's crazy to me to think. Like, let's say that I wanted to bring kindness to my community. I don't, but let's say that I did, okay? I would just spend the money on things that I thought were helping the community. I would be like, you know what? Dan's probably going to do a better job than I would. Here, Dan, you take my money and figure it out for me.
Yeah.
It just seems doesn't it seem a little shitty to exclude most of the kids from this art studio?
It's ridiculous.
It's a lot shitty.
Yes,
it's like you would fuck it up and you'd be picking on these kids and there'd be fights. I'd be breaking up fights all day if there were any cis white kids in here. No, they're kids who are into art. They'd probably be just like the other kids.
No, they already have their own art studio, Drew. You don't understand.
That's right. All art studios are their art studios. I forgot. Yeah, that's why I'm an unaffirming person.
Its logic is flawed, I guess is what we're saying.
Oh, my.
Now, I don't want to hear it on the boner line about me laughing about kittens dying. All right, I'm sorry. I thought we went on a journey together that was kind of fun.
Yeah, me neither. No, please. Yeah, Woke Dad gets a lot of attention, no question. You get a lot of calls for him, don't you?
A ton, yeah. There's people who always find separated at birth with his voice, and then there's the people who are just infuriated by him and have to call to say they want to punch their radio.
Yeah, I detected a lot of people. I was looking at some comments, and I think there's quite a few people around here who are commenting on his videos.
Well, you know what? No one likes a bullshitter, and he is a bullshitter.
Well, he's such a narcissist too. He can do no wrong. He's amazing in every single way. And then the balls to come out and be like, I'm co-parenting with a narcissist guy, so I'm going through it right now. Incredible. The worst.
But all the comments he's getting now, people telling him to get over himself. You know, he's a conceited, a crazed, maniacal, egotistical, loon parent. And that doesn't even send him the most remote message to maybe pull back on the I'm so great stuff. He still keeps pouring it on.
Those people are the assholes. True.
I know, silly. Of course they are.
Borderline personality disorder.
Well, great stuff. And we look forward to October 25th. As I mentioned earlier, less than 50 tickets available for the Magic Bag. Going to sell it out for the third year in a row.
Get this out.
He's just laughing at you now.
Okay. Well, he knows how funny that would be.
You know who disagrees with?
Minorities.
Oh, God. Yeah, come to the Magic Bag. There are less than 50 tickets left. So there you go.
WATPlive.com. You can get your tickets for the Magic Bag. We're looking forward to hanging out with everybody. And who else is going to be there? We got all the WATP crew. We got the Drew Lane Show crew.
Our crew.
Ted Williams is coming,
That's right.
Yes. Is Dr. Steve coming?
Dr. Steve will not be there, unfortunately.
Oh.
But who is coming is Tukey, Cardiff, and OJ.
Hey, all right.
Are all coming as well. So that's exciting.
Trucker Andy, Lucy Tightbox, producer Chris.
Producer Chris, Jenny Jingles. Yes.
Nice. All right, we'll have a great crowd October 25th, and Carl's got a new show tomorrow on Who These Podcasts. And is the Dabblecon video, are those still, could you still get those, or will those be released for everyone to watch?
So Dabblecon.live, if you sign up, you can still watch those videos. They're archived on the site. You can go back and watch those. I'm not going to leave them up forever, but I will make them available for people who purchase them. Yes.
And could you still purchase them if you didn't?
You can. You can go to Dabblecon.live and you can still make that purchase. $30 get you all of the shows that we did, the Dabby Awards, the live podcast, 3 different podcasts we did on Saturday afternoon, and of course the roast on Friday night.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thanks, guys.
We'll talk to you soon, Carl. Oh, God, that was the worst. The worst. The worst thing that motherfucker has ever done